What's going on, people? This is Smitty Smith.
This is Vi.
Welcome to E&A, the Everything and Anything podcast. We have a special guest in the building today.
Yes, we do. We have a professional speaker and certified life coach, Mr. Terence Tillman.
Oh,
What's
man.
going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all.
Oh, we appreciate you for coming on.
Hell yeah, we do, goddammit. Hell yeah, we do.
So let me start off by saying, without the proper perspective, you will never find your passion. And without passion, you'll never fulfill your purpose.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, for me, everything is about perspective
Okay.
in life in general. That's something that my father taught me. You know, in the worst of times and the best of times, you have to have the right perspective, because with the right perspective, it'll lead you down the right path.
Okay. So what is it that your primary function is that you do? I should say, you being a certified life coach.
Mm-hmm. So my primary function is helping people achieve their goals. So when we do life coaching on a one-on-one basis, I sit down with them, we make plans and things like that, set goals, and I'm like really their accountability partner.
Accountability partner.
Yeah.
So you're there to punish them when they're not doing what they're supposed to do?
No, but everything starts with accountability. It's just like having a personal trainer, you know, somebody to keep you honest. Like you say you want to lose 10, but you're not doing the right things. You're not eating the right things. So you have a personal trainer there to say, hey, you need to get on this meal prep. Stay on track. Do this the right way, and make and make corrections. Like we all need that.
Okay. So you said you specialize in creating personalized plans and providing tools to guide one forward to achieve desired goals. How exactly do you do what it is that you do? Like for each person, obviously it's going to be different.
Yeah.
But what are some of the ways that you go about accomplishing those for the individual?
It's like assessments. I do assessments. It's like when you go to the doctor or you do anything, you go there, you have a whole questionnaire, right?
Okay.
And the doctor makes a pretty much customized plan just for you. And
it's not one of those Scientology questionnaires, because I had like 100 questions on that. If you've never done it, I unfortunately kind of got bamboozled into going inside.
Yeah.
You serious?
Yes, me and my cousin, we was walking in California, and they said, hey, why don't you try this personality test or whatever? And it had 100 questions, and both of us was trying to get out of it, but it's like they don't want you to leave, so they make it hard for you to. But anyway,
Nah, it's definitely not that. That sounds like a cult.
Well, that's the first time I heard that, yo.
So beware. Okay, so what are some ways or examples of what you have already done for people?
So the last client that I had, like their main goal was to really get organized. They had a lot of goals and aspirations, but didn't know how to get there. Right.
Okay.
So we kind of sat down and we put everything on paper, you know, and just really hash things out from most important to what is the thing that you really, really want to get out of your goals by 2019. So we sat down, put pen to paper, and then I hashed out a whole plan for them.
Okay.
And then we stuck to each week, each regimen, and every day, you know, I'm checking in on them every single day. You know, that's all I do. It's not a game.
Too, making sure that
FaceTime, you know, because you just never know really when somebody needs help. Because even if we have a plan, right, they may fall off, or they may say, man, you know what? Well, how do I get to this, or how do I get to that? You know what I'm saying? So then it's me that's gonna say, hey, how you doing with this today? You said that you were gonna eat this. So did you? You said that you were gonna go to bed by 10 p.m.
Okay.
You in bed? You know, it's just stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That I'm really trying to be their accountability partner.
So do you make house calls, or do they come to your office?
Really, everything that I do is either over the phone or via video chat.
Oh, okay. That's
Okay.
cool.
That's very tech savvy. For you to do that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And
I wish I had an iPhone.
Actually, he doesn't have
I
an
don't
iPhone.
have an iPhone.
That's right. Android in the building, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Note 9. Yeah.
You feel better? You feel better that you found a friend?
You got a friend in me. All right. How did you get into motivational speaking?
Well, I think through kind of like a really rough time in my life. I think I lost my job, and my dad was in the hospital, my mom was in the hospital, and then I went into work and got laid off. So
Wait, all in the same week?
All in the same week?
So my mom had a brain aneurysm. My dad was in the hospital taking chemo. And, you know, my job knew that at the time. And I went in and walked in, and they were like, listen, we're doing cuts. And, you know, sorry, but here's your severance package and have a nice day.
Is that company still standing?
Yeah, it's a big one too. So, you know, from there, I was left with just a lot of things with my mom being on her deathbed, you know, having an aneurysm. Yeah. And so just going through the process of being unemployed, things like that, and trying to find some source of inspiration without spiraling down the wrong path. And I started to notice that I was going down the wrong path, trying to keep up with just so many different things. Bills need to be paid. I'm trying to help out my parents with, you know, medical things and bills and stuff like that. And then, so I started to just watch more motivational videos and stuff like that. And I started to go to some of these things that some of these guys were having. And I would drag one of my best friends along. And we would go for a while. And until one day she said, you know what, I'm not going to go with you anymore to any of these things. And I was like, damn, man, that's kind of foul. Like, you my best friend. Like, why not? And she said, because the honest truth is, they never said nothing that you haven't said ever. So until your name is on the bill, don't ask me to come because you playing. I was like, oh, okay.
Man, sounds like she's the one.
She want to motivate you, yo.
Let you know, like, look, your research stops here.
Yeah.
It's time for you to do it.
Yeah, and that was the the punch in the face that I needed. That was the slap, because I was like, whoa. And I was like, me do this? But it's something that came so naturally to me, you know, since high school and when I was younger, and I'm talking to my friends and I'm just blah, 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 trying to help and do all these things. I never really thought I could make a career out of it until that day. And then that's kind of what sparked everything for me. And then I got a job working in nonprofit, teaching workshops and things like that to people who were on public assistance and things like that. So that's kind of what sparked everything. And then, like 2 years later, I think we're here now.
Oh, man.
So what do you find yourself talking about more? Like, what topics? More so than others?
As much as I don't like to get pigeonholed, I think relationships tend to be like one of the top topics.
Told you. I told her that.
So when it comes,
got it all written down right here, yo.
Well, let's be clear about something. There are many kinds of relationships that we all that we're all kind of having trouble in. It could be a relationship with self, with family, with a significant other. So when you say relationships, which relationship?
Well, the most popular one to talk about is obviously the one where you boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, stuff like that. But I really do like to dive into kind of like your relationship with yourself, because I believe that's one of the most important relationships that you can have.
So then I have a question then. Yeah. Because I hear that all the time, see it all the time on social media. Love yourself first before you can love someone else. My problem is people are always talking about loving yourself, but not how to. Like, how do you go about loving yourself on a daily basis to make sure that the love you have for yourself is so strong that you are now able to go out into the world and try to find your other half, so to speak?
So I did a panel discussion on Saturday, and this topic came up, and we had people, you know, write down kind of what their, you know, what they thought a relationship should be, or what they expect from the opposition, right? And everybody else kind of said the same thing. So it was pretty much, you know, honesty and integrity, no cheating, you know, respect and stuff like that. But to me, everything starts with value, and knowing what your value is, knowing what your value system is. I think that's gotten lost. Yeah, I think we know what we want from the opposition, but we don't really know what we want, like, for ourselves.
So the core values. Yeah,
and knowing what your non-negotiables are is good. But if you don't know your value, you'll never really know what your non-negotiables are, and you're never going to follow through with your non-negotiables because you don't know your own value in itself. So to me, it all starts with your value system. As a man and as a woman, like, what's your value system, right? Because I know for a guy, their value system normally is how much money they make, right?
Okay.
And how many women they can sleep with.
Okay.
Right? That's kind of like normally what a man's value system is. I'm not saying everyone's, but on an umbrella, that's kind of what a man's value system is. Okay. So what I mean by that, is So what we teach our young men, right? And this is what I mean by values. So what we teach them is kind of just don't communicate, things like that. See, I believe that communication should be a value point for men, right?
I think for everyone.
No, right.
Okay.
I'm gonna get there.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, but it's very prevalent in women. It's very prevalent because you're taught to express. Like from a young woman, like you're taught to express. Don't worry, cry. Like it's okay.
Like,
show emotion.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it. As we're men, it's like, listen, man up. Don't cry. Don't communicate. Man up. That's just who you are, right? But the problem is, I find, is now we have a bunch of 25-year-olds walking around with a lot of rage, hurt, and anger, and don't know where to put it, right?
Yeah.
And then now they're supposed to know how to communicate, how to love, right? When they don't even know exactly what that word means or how to express it, because that's what we're trained to do. So I kind of feel like we need to reinstill what our value system is in men and women too, right? So that's kind of what I mean by value systems, because if we can redo or reskill what we think are as values, then I kind of feel like then you'll get a better result as what you would say is, how do we love? Well, how do we love myself? Well, how do I love myself if I can never express love? Like, how do I love myself? I mean, and that's a real question. How do I love myself when I have 25 years worth of pent up anger and aggression, and I was told I can't express it, and then I'm being crucified for the very thing that I was never given the permission to do.
Damn.
So I think, and the same thing with women. A woman's value system is historically, is she married? Does she have a Prince Charming? And how many kids can she bear, right? Yeah. And I think we were kind of taught a very Disney-like mentality, like when it comes to women, right?
It's funny you said that.
So, and that's kind of society. But it's just, I felt like you guys were taught so much one way and us so much of a different way, where I kind of felt like you guys were done a disservice, because your value system is so much more. But that's why you kind of say, hey, I'll settle for this, or I'll just date this guy, or I'll just, because you know what? I want this thing. I want this marriage. I want this ring. I want these kids, because that is what's going to solidify me.
Or that's what I'm supposed to have.
All right. Or no, but that's what's going to solidify me as a woman. Because I know women that have money, 6 figures, balling. They don't feel solidified because they don't have this thing. Right? And they will compromise themselves to get it because they don't know their true value system. And that's the same thing with men. Why do you think men can pick up from their family and just leave the money on the table and bounce from their family? Because they say, listen, guess what? I'm giving you money. But you never told me really I had to stay with my family. You never told me how to love. Right? So I can always pick up and leave my family because you got here's the money, here's child support, or I'm taking care of my family. I have a lot of money. Right?
Yeah.
So guess what? That's all I have to provide, is just that.
Wow.
Because that's my value system, and you can't tell me different. So that's what I mean. But if somebody was told me, hey, Terence, you can communicate, you can express. Let me teach you as a man about family, the importance of staying with family, the importance of picking the right woman. Let me show you the importance of that. Let me just not tell you that, hey, it's okay to make, that it's just okay to make a certain amount of money. That's where your value is, or drive a nice car. And I think women were taught all of that. So men are kind of crucified for not knowing these things, but that was never in their value system to begin with, because you brought up women completely different than you did men.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Women value family, right?
Yes.
You're taught to, right?
Yes.
As a kid, play with this. Like you're brought up to meet Prince Charming and make a family.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you have to be, feminized men. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is there has to be a piece on communication. There has to be a piece on the value of family instilled in men as a value point, so that when they grow up, it's not just, here's the money, I'm gonna go bounce to the next one and make another one. Because I got it like that. It's more of, I know what my non-negotiables are, and I know my value. My value is more than just what society tells me that it is. And I'm going to make sure I pick the right person that's going to reflect that of me and hold me to that. And I think that's where we start, is because I love me first. I value me first. And I know what my value systems are. And that's kind of what I mean by value.
Okay. Wow. So a whole lot. You over there deep in thought. Like he's just
I ain't mean to
staring
go too
off.
long.
Like,
I apologize.
no, it's not about that. But
it
now
ain't about that.
you got me thinking about what's my value system.
Ain't about that. I mean, you touched on a lot of things about men, and I know you're not speaking for like every man that's like that.
No.
You know, but there are certain individuals that's just like, you know what, I can't be with you. Here's the money. Kids should be good. I'm a bounce. So there's other dudes out there that actually take care of their kids.
Of course.
You know, even though they're not in the picture, they try to be. You know, but every relationship is not the same. You know, some like honestly, some babies are not playing. Most babies are not playing. Shit, I don't even think I was playing. But I'm gonna say that most babies are not playing. So a person probably is dealing with a female, or a female's probably dealing with a dude. You know, just abuse that person. Surprise, you got a baby now, so now you got to take over responsibility.
Yeah. When it comes to that topic in itself, what I meant was, if you have the correct value system, a lot of times you'll make better decisions about who you choose to lay down with. You know what I'm saying? You know, and what you will accept, and the type of person that you'll lay down with. And I think I've seen that where somebody knows their value system, I think the situation even in itself, even when it comes to co-parenting, the situation will be a lot better. Even if you're not with the woman or guy, the co-parenting situation will be a lot better because you picked even if it doesn't work romantically, you picked a solid person to make a baby with.
Like some type of a good foundation that you can instill in a child.
Yeah, from both sides.
From both sides, yes.
You know, and I think that's kind of what I mean. Because if you value yourself, then you value who you'll lay down with. And that's on both sides.
So from when I'm getting two values that everyone should have on both sides is definitely communication as well as family.
Yeah.
Those are definitely
it's
value systems that should be there.
Yeah, because I think we've all grown up sometimes. I think even for me, as great of a father as my dad was, like he was more of a, listen, man, don't talk, man. Like, listen, when we at the kitchen table, let the food slap your mouth. My mom is like, no, he needs to be able to express himself and to communicate. And she's the one who said, listen, you know, because one day you're going to need it in business, relationships, anything that comes across your way, you're going to need to know how to communicate and communicate effectively. And that's something that I took from that, and I said, wow, you know, I need that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like morals also sculpt the person that you're going to be as a kid, you know, when you're growing up. You know, because I was raised in a single family household. My mother raised me and my brother, you know, so it was so many ways that I could have went, but the morals that she put in me made me go a certain way. Plus, you know, it was the fact that I wasn't very hypnotized by the street mentality of doing certain things in that way anyway. So even though she also was in my ear, I also had my own mind to think about it, but her morals was always guiding me, you know.
Like what morals?
Till this day.
Like what morals?
I mean, as far as relationship goes, she always taught me like old-fashioned things, you know, like the female should be on the inside, you know, like going on the first date, you know, bring flowers, open the door for a female, you know, stuff like that. You know, certain things you should know. The things that I missed out on was like learning how to shave, learning how to fight. I could tell. You know, playing basketball. This has been brought to you by Gillette.
Oh man.
Hey.
All right. So morals. Morals is definitely important. One thing I think we're failing in the moral category, as far as the people, is respect. That's something that I see a lot of, that I don't see a lot of in the kids.
Yeah, I agree with
kids. And I think because it wasn't instilled in them as a child, like to not know the hierarchy of family, like you can talk, not to say you should disrespect your sister or your brother, but talking to your sister or brother in one way is fine, but you can't talk to your mother or your grandmother in that same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find some people feel like, well, if you talk to me in this way, I can talk to you back. No. If that's an adult, then I told my son, if a teacher comes at you in a way that you don't like, you don't argue with the teacher because that's still an adult. you tell me and let me talk to that adult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things like that, because
Yeah.
you're still a child and you still have to remain in a child's place.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, if you are being disrespected, I
Yeah.
do agree that you should stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
But never forget that respect. So now it goes on your tone
Mm-hmm.
and the words that you choose to use when you are standing up for yourself.
I agree with
That's
that
true.
too. I definitely agree with that. Like I feel like if you're a child, you should never. I was always taught not to raise your voice at your mom. You know, well, I know everybody in this room says something under their breath. Everybody says something under their breath. Like,
Wait,
yo, man,
what? What you
yo,
say?
man, fuck you.
Huh?
Nothing. I ain't say nothing.
Facts.
But you got. I'll say you got kids, and you have adults out there that talk to their parents like they like a nigga on the street, yo, like, yo, man, fuck is wrong with you, or yo,
Yeah.
you acting crazy, you bugging out, yo, you
Yeah.
doing this, you doing that. And I'm like, like for a person that lost his mom at a young age, like, yo, son, you better be careful how you talking to her, because once she's gone, you gonna regret saying those things to her or treating her like that.
That's why there's a lot of times, I'm sure you guys seen on the internet, where these kids be talking to their mother some type of way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
it's
have
so
another
crazy.
person, not even related, it's just
Yeah.
a stranger, like, yo, dude, how you talking to your mother? Like, because it affects you so bad
Yeah.
that you feel like you have to say something.
I saw it was something on Instagram, and this dude was cursing his mother out, yo, like really going
Like
on
in
his
the corner
mother.
store, right?
Yep, and the dude out of
I saw
nowhere,
that, yeah, back
dude
in
out
the
of
day,
nowhere
yeah.
just knocked him out, boom, and then he stood on top of him, was like, yo, you don't talk to your moms like that, man. You only get one of them. So by him doing that, I could tell that he either lost his moms, or he lost his moms and he really miss her. So he don't want nobody disrespecting their mother, regardless
Facts.
of how they treat them or anything like that. That at the end of the day, it's your mom's. You know,
Yeah.
you can't talk to your mother that way. And I tell this to anybody, like, you shouldn't talk to a female any type of way. Don't get me twisted. There are some females that deserve to be called, certain things. But I say, I have nieces, I have sisters, I have aunts. I wouldn't want nobody calling my sisters, nieces, aunts anything crazy. So why would I say that to any other female?
Well, I feel like the problem with that is you shouldn't talk to anyone crazy. You shouldn't, say anything to somebody that you really would not want to be said to you, period. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just that's your mother. No, you shouldn't talk to anybody like that. People shouldn't be all kinds of bitches and hoes every time you're mad. Somebody shouldn't be talked down to just because they're not doing something right. Because that's all you know how to do. That's not right.
That's accurate. And I think, but a lot of that stuff starts in the home. And, parents should always be respected. But sometimes, as parents are getting much younger and younger, a lot of times you'll see, like, their mother talking to their mother crazy, right? So you'll see the grandchild listening to their parent, like, their mom, and then their mom arguing crazy, cursing each other out. And so that's what they grow up with. And then that's what they end up doing too, and a lot of it's very generational.
Yeah, or you see like you said, crazy. Like the young parents, because you're right.
A good point right there, yeah.
Because honestly, you're right. Because a lot of, like you said, a lot of young dudes don't know how to interact with a adult relationship.
Right.
So sometimes they'll start fighting. They'll start fighting each other, like physically fighting. And the kids are watching it.
Yeah.
So, by them watching that, they probably think, the son's probably thinking like, oh, it's all right for me to hit a female. And the female's probably thinking like,
it's all right to get hit.
Or, like the color purple, she fought everybody, Oprah, man, she got, Oprah.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead.
Harpo, you told Harpo to beat me?
Well, the things we're talking about right now.
Beatings. Hold on. I ain't finished yet, yo. Beatings. All right? That's what they need. And I'm sorry, ACS, but kids, they need the ass whip. They do. They need the ass whip, man. I got beat with a hanger, a game
Okay,
controller,
whoa, calm down.
a
Listen,
plunger.
I don't think the limit.
plunger.
I don't think the statute of
the views
limitations
expressed.
stop at a certain time. I don't know. I don't know if they stop at a certain time. I don't want anybody coming over to your house. You told me your mother. You know, I'm just saying. Let's no confessions right now.
I'm
no
saying,
mommy
man.
dearest moments.
You lost me at plunger. I didn't know what to do with that right there.
Now, what's no Adam Louima thing going on?
That's exactly where I was going.
I already knew it. Let's say, yeah, plunger. Like, oh man, yo. A lot of adults, they like, all right, well, my father beat me, so I'm gonna beat my kid, and so forth and so on, instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with him. Like, why is he acting this way?
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you said, there's some kids when they hit teenage, they feel like they Superman, yo. They want to back talk, put their hands in your face and start. Oh, all right, let me show you who dad is, right?
They start feeling themselves.
Exactly, because you know, all the girls start liking you, all right. So you try to feel, oh, you got a little bit of muscles, all right. So all right.
I ain't never
I will
had them.
beat
You know what I call
shit
them?
out you.
I call them little hookers and hoodlums.
Yeah, man.
When them little hookers be getting in their face and in their ear, and then when you got a girl, you got them little hoodlums getting in their face and their ear.
Putting that
You know what I
Duracell
mean?
on their back.
Wow, you old school for real, man.
Hoodlums.
I ain't gonna lie, you old school for real now.
Oh man, like you better have a grandmother and be like, get off my lawn. And you live in an apartment complex.
Well, we are a product of our childhood, parents, and environment.
Yeah.
So what we learn, we tend to pass on, which is like what he said. So how can we even begin to be right if what we learned was wrong to begin with?
Well, I think at some point, as an adult, you are responsible for your own actions. You know, just because that's how you were taught or that's how you were raised, at some point, you know, you got to look at yourself and say, is this right? Because a lot of times we know it's right. I mean, or we know it's wrong. And then it's like we just continue to go down the path because it's comfortable and change is uncomfortable. But it's just the type of life you want for yourself. And does that align with where you're going in life? You know, so I think if you know it's not, you know, going to get you to the end result of what you want, and you got to make a change, and it starts with accountability of yourself, because it's very easy to blame, you know, your mom, your dad, your uncle, you know, but at some point as an adult, you do have to say, okay, something is not right. Do I seek help? Do I acknowledge that, hey, there is something wrong, and what I'm doing is not producing the results that I really want?
And you touched it right there when you said we have to seek help. And I feel like that's something that we don't do. Yeah. There are a lot of undiagnosed people out there right now.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, abuse is not always physical. A lot of it is emotional. And sometimes when I say there are a lot of undiagnosed, there are people out there who are very negative and hateful and say things and don't take responsibility for the things that they're saying and how they're hurting people. But how do you get people to seek help that you know they need when they think they're fine? Or, listen, I am who I am and what I am, and it is what it is. But how do you like?
Well, I mean, to be honest, you can't change people. You know, like you can try and advise the best that you know how. But if somebody is adamant on staying where they are, the only thing that I can't control is whether I'm gonna rock with you or not. And be close. Because just because we used to be cool don't mean that we can stay close. You know, and because your toxic behavior is contagious. You know, it's like a cancer and it spreads.
Wait, repeat that. Time out. Repeat that.
I say your toxic behavior is like cancer and it spreads. You know, and that's something at some point, but that's what I mean by, for me.
You are so corny, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, she is so corny.
Right. I needed people to hear that twice, not once, but twice. Because it's contagious.
It is, because she said that in the first podcast. You know, she said that in the first podcast.
I was even thinking about that. And at what point do we now have to start taking responsibility when we just know better? Because I say that to say, as a kid, however your nature or your nurture is, you really can't help it. But once you get, I think, in high school, when you're actually learning more about the world and how life works, is that the point in time where we should start to realize if we have a problem and if we can try to fix it?
Well, everybody comes to their realization in different ages and different stages of their life. And a lot of times in high school, like you said, like a lot of times you think you know everything.
That's true.
So a lot of times you don't come to the realization.
That's true.
That's correct.
So a lot of times you don't really come to the realization until you could be mid-20s. You could be 22, 23, 24, 25. Shoot, some people don't even realize until it's 30.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when you realize it, then it's like it's time for you to get some help. You know, because you can't do it by yourself a lot of times. Yeah, it's going to take somebody to say, hey, you know, this is the plan for you. You know, and I think you're right. In this community, we don't do it enough. And our mental health and emotional health is really not valued. And that's what I mean. The stuff that should be valued is not valued. We value more relationships with people than we do for our own self. So we value marriage and, you know, relationships with boyfriends and girlfriends more than we do our own self. And that's part of the biggest problem. And that's a huge problem for me. It's just because I hate to see that.
Yeah.
Because when you value your own relationship with somebody else more than you do yourself, then your relationship with that other person is never going to be successful. Because now you're dependent upon them to make you happy and to give you everything. You know, when you should have been unpacking your bags from a long time ago.
Well, one thing I wanted to touch base on is love. Yeah. So I read that love is a commitment to getting yourself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually sound before you invite someone else to love you.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love and knowing your self-worth is essential before you make a commitment to loving someone else. So like I asked from before, how is it that we do begin to love ourselves? Like, what are the things that we can do on a daily basis to get to that love and to keep that love and to strengthen that love with us?
Mm.
Yes, sir. You have a question? You in the back.
Yes, I would say this. Oh, by the way, my name is Smitty. I would say this.
And you're an alcoholic?
I know one. I'll say this. Keep a journal. You know, keep a journal. Always write in it. You know, because you will experience yourself in a way that no one else will. You know, you write down anything personal, anything like that, and do yourself a favor and read the passages that you wrote. Not now, but let some time pass and read, and you'll see how you evolve as a person. You'll
like
see.
Every week, you mean?
Huh? No, not every week. Like let's just say you started. Let's just say you started it in January.
Mm-hmm.
Go back in July and read what you wrote in January and see if you feel the same way. See if your views are the same.
Okay.
You know, see if you feel the same way that you felt before. You know, I feel like that's a way to get inside your own head. You know, I mean, of course, I'll say professionally, you should definitely go seek, you know, a psychiatrist or a therapist, anything like that. But a journal is always good to see what's inside of you. You know,
see if there's any growth.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. To piggyback, yeah, there was one journal that I actually had. I think it's called the 5-minute journal or something like that, and it makes you do. I think it's in the morning and at night. It's 3 things that you're thankful for, and 3 things that you want to accomplish during the day, and then at night it's pretty much a recap. You know, and then it makes you give thanks again to the things that have happened during the day. So it always keeps you in a mindset of thanks and reflecting on the good things that you've accomplished. And I don't think that we do that enough. I think that we just go about our everyday life and just go, okay, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. Wake up, this is what I do. But at some point, we really got to stop and say, hey, you know what? I did accomplish this today, and be thankful for that. You know, or I did get home. Yeah, or man, I got home safe, man. Man, that is a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
Because when you always keep yourself in that mindset of Thanksgiving, I feel like each day gets better. It's not so bad. And also just celebrating yourself. Like, it's okay to celebrate yourself. Some people, I'm not saying you be arrogant, but it's okay to celebrate the victories, big or small, that you have in your everyday life. You know, I dropped 2 pounds. Some people go, oh, it's just 2 pounds. Nah, man, you dropped 2.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And some people save the celebration for the 15 pounds or the 20 pounds. Nah, celebrate the 1.
So you're
celebrate
saying
the 2.
Celebrate the small milestones also, not just the big ones.
To me, there are no small milestones, man. 2 pounds is big. You know what I'm saying? It may not be what the end result of what you want it to be, but that for that 2 pounds, for that day, was big enough for me because it's going to add up to the end result. So to me, there are no small victories. They're just victories, you know. And then always just keep yourself saying, you know, positive affirmations every single day. You know, I am blessed. You know what I'm saying? I am attractive. You know, just whatever it is that you feel about yourself. Don't be afraid to say it about yourself, because it's you. You know, like you expect compliments from everybody else. Oh, I want him to say I'm pretty. I want him to compliment me. But you won't compliment yourself. Why is that? And not in an arrogant way, but you by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I am accomplished. I did overcome so much from my life, you know?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm proud of that. And you know, because if you're proud of you, then a lot of times you won't be impressed by small things that people do for you. Because it's like, oh, he gave me a compliment. Okay, that's what he's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I do that for myself on a daily basis.
Yeah, like you don't applaud the singer for merely clearing their throat.
Yeah, we don't applaud the mediocre. You know, people applaud, you know, not cheating. I mean, to me, that's standard. If you applaud for that, man, you in the wrong business.
You
That's
wrote a
just my
book yet?
opinion.
Like,
Nah.
what's this book?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't write a book yet, man.
That's supposed to be coming. You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, definitely. Once it's written and it's published and it's out there, or when it's about to be, I would love for you to come back and talk about it.
Interview number 2.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
One of many, because I could definitely see you taking. Well, where are you trying to take this? Because you already go to different places and you speak.
Yeah. I go to a lot of schools, universities, nonprofit organizations in New York City.
On different topics?
Yeah, various different topics. I do stuff on job readiness training too, because that's a big thing in our communities.
Yeah.
A lot of times people go into interviews, they don't know what to say, how to dress. You'd be surprised.
No, I'm not.
No.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
it's been very interesting what you ask certain questions and the questions that people tell you, and just the pitfalls that sometimes corporations during an interview may set for you to say the wrong things. So I do a lot of that as well, job readiness training workshops, relationship workshops, communication workshops, and stuff like that too. But me, I'm trying to take this stuff, you know, outside of New York, you know.
Okay.
So I kind of cover New York now within the last 2 years. You know, I've covered a lot of ground, so I'm just trying to take it, you know, nationwide.
Branching out?
Yeah.
I see you going very far.
Well, that's cool, man. Hold on, I got to touch on one thing.
Yeah.
In your website, I saw this and I just wanted to ask you a question on that.
Sure.
It says, I always provide personalized attention to help each coachee identify their personal values, strengths, and abilities, and support at their personal and professional goals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But what about their weaknesses? Do you also focus on that as well? And how do you overcome that?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think the weaknesses are, the easiest part, because everybody always, they tend to exploit their own weaknesses. Oh, I'm not good at this. They always tell me that. But then when I ask you, what are you good at? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yo, it never fails. Like, you can tell me every negative thing about yourself. I'm not good at this. I'm time management. I'm bad at this. I'm bad at that. But then I'm like, so what are you good at? And they're just, well, you know, I don't know. And so that's a big question to unpack in most cases that I see. You know, so it's easy to deal with the weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get. It's always, the bad news is always easy to pass around. You know what I'm saying? So it's really to get people to really realize what their potential is and really get their greatness out of them and pull their greatness out of them and say, hey, tell me, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And how can we get you there? How fast do you want to get there? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are stuck.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest word. It's just stuck. I mean, there was a point I was stuck.
I think we all have. I think that's how you're able to relate to people, is because you've been where you see they are now, right?
Yeah,
and
I've lost
where they could be.
I've lost my job. I've lost money. I've lost a lot of different things. You know, I've been through loss. So, I mean, but with that, it's just I'm not afraid to lose anymore, because it's already happened, and I'm still here.
I want your perspective, because sometimes you get to the point where you've lost so much, you're just so scared to put yourself out there because you just might lose again. But if you lose again, you're still here. I mean, I think that's the thing for me. I was never afraid to go into relationships. I was never afraid
to make a jump because I fell already. I've been in failed relationships, and what's gonna happen? What happened?
I mean, that heartbreak.
So that's your
hurts.
question. So that's your
Damn.
question.
You still here?
Do you feel like it's important for you? Do you feel like there's an importance of getting hurt while you're in a relationship?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I like to know the value or to know a better you.
Oh, I think I know what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I think getting hurt is inevitable. I think whether you're young, I think unless you just get it right from the very first relationship you ever have in life, which that's rare, but it can happen. I think being hurt is inevitable, and I think you learn valuable lessons. And the thing is, people tend to go in cycles, and they continue to be hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt by the same type of person because they keep choosing the same type of person, just with a different shell but the same inside.
So, do hurt people hurt people?
Oh yeah, I think that hurt people can, not all the time, but they can hurt people because they haven't addressed some of the hurt that they've been through. So they inflict their hurt on other people. I think sometimes that's just the way the cycle is, but it's not an excuse.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse just because, oh, he made me this. I hate that. He or she made me this way. Nah, you chose to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
That's where the responsibility and accountability come in, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times it feels like, like I want somebody to feel what I feel. And that person could be an innocent bystander, but a lot of times people just hurt people, unfortunately. But I do believe that there was a quote, I think it's from Rob Hill, saying he said, heal people can heal people.
And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
You like that?
You just read a book, yo. You just read a book.
That last one wasn't me. That one was Rob Hill Sr. That's my guy. Yeah, but
you said
yeah.
heal. You said heal. On
Heal?
healed people can heal people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Name your top 3 movies.
My top 3 movies: Carlito's Way, Scarface, American Gangster.
Yo, I have not seen Carlito's Way. I gotta watch that movie.
Wow. Have you seen both? Well, obviously I'm not talking to you. Did you see both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you happy with the second one, the prequel, so to speak?
Oh, was that the one with
Buffy.
With Puffy?
No, nah, we can't do that. I love.
Do you
I love
not
Puff.
even count that? Like,
Huh?
like
Nah,
sometimes there's a movie that comes out and it's like it was so bad, like it's like it never existed. to
Yeah,
you.
that was one of those. I mean, and I love Puff. You know, his music is incredible. He's a icon.
It was just a
But
bad movie.
yeah,
So.
that one right there was scrap for me. No, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's when Puff started really like acting.
Yeah.
You know, because I know he was in Monster Ball.
But there's just certain movies that, to me, you just shouldn't remake.
Yeah.
It's just they're just what they are. The classics, and you should just leave them alone.
Exactly.
Man. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
Especially like the old hood movies like Juice. Like leave all those alone, man.
Yeah.
Leave all of them alone,
yeah.
man. Don't remake them. Don't come out with a sequel. If the movie's like 15 years old, leave it alone. It's 15 years old for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no, because look at The Best Man. He did that on purpose.
All right, you know what? That's an exception, right?
Yeah.
That and Incredibles, right? The Incredibles and Disney.
But that was a different genre, though. I think stuff like Carlito's Way, that's like solid 2.5 hours of just content, of incredible content. I think you just gotta leave that alone. Like Scarface, you can't remake Scarface. Please don't remake it.
Nah, they thinking about remaking it.
See, that's a problem for me.
Okay, so
I can't do
I'm not
it.
even going to think about that. What I wanted to say is with Scarface, that's one of those movies that came out before its time. Because when it came out, it bombed at the box office. People did not, like critics, didn't say any good things about it. But now look at what you're saying. It's one of the greatest movies.
Man, that's the classic right there.
It's
man.
a classic. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, sometimes movies just don't come out when they were supposed to.
Like, would y'all want to see a Belly 2?
No, not at all.
Actually, they came out with Belly 2 already.
What
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah.
I missed that?
I think you
No.
purposely got it out your head.
I never
Yeah.
even heard that before.
Yes, to start the game.
Oh, praise the Lord! I ain't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, we good over here.
Well,
All right.
moving on then from that.
Damn. Wow.
All right, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Oh man, probably playing with some of my childhood friends basketball. We had a block and we just go up the block, man, and just hoop for hours. I think that was probably one of my fondest childhood memories.
That's dope. If you had a time machine, what would you change in history?
It could be your history or world history.
Yep. You could teach Michael Jackson to moonwalk.
If I can go back and I guess in world history, I think I would prevent Martin Luther King from getting shot and dying, because I would just would love to see what
That'd be crazy,
what he would say,
now or
over my lifetime.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I would have loved to see.
How would Martin Luther King be, if he was alive right now? Like 70?
Nah, don't get me started with the math.
80? I'm bad at math.
Not sure, but it would have been very interesting to see how he would have changed I don't know how he would have changed things.
Yeah, so corny, man.
Or brought us together for an effective change.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yo, you know what? It would be nice. I mean, we got Jesse Jackson.
Okay,
all
so
right, come on, man.
thank you so much.
You lost me on that one.
So
man.
No,
Come on.
I was gonna say it would have been nice to see Malcolm X and Martin Luther King see Obama get elected as president.
But would that have happened if?
Yeah.
I think if he stays alive, it's like the timeline kind of could have shifted and changed
a lot
everything.
of things would have been
It's
different.
kind of like if Biggie didn't die, would Jay-Z be Jay-Z? I don't know. Maybe he would have. Maybe he wouldn't have. I'm not sure. But those timelines change. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah.
So now, how do we get in touch with you, Mr. Tillman? How can the people locate you on IG or your websites? Let the people know.
Everything is at T-Till Inspires. My website is ttillinspires.com. Yeah.
And
that's
what's
everything.
your IG?
T-Till Inspires. Everything. All social media is T-Till Inspires.
Okay. T-Till.
That is dope, man.
T-I-double-L.
Is that your gamer tag too? You on PlayStation?
Nah, man.
I was saying, man, I'm about to look him up, man. He can inspire me to play Spider-Man.
Oh boy. What's your quote? What's your end quote for today?
Oh, man. People will say you can't do it. Your mom may even tell you can't do it. Anyway, you're made to do extraordinary things. Don't let anyone tell you different, not even yourself.
Facts.
There it is.
There it is. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the ENA podcast. Thank you so much, Mr. T-Till, for joining us today.
Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate the platform. You guys are doing an amazing job here.
Oh, man.
Appreciate
Thank
you, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, have a good day, people.
All right, later.